champions, the New York Knicks. My mayor Muslim, my hair Jewish. It's time for New York politics to thrive. Knicks in mother flippin' 5, y'all. In America's 250th year, our country is at a fork in the road. While oligarchs, billionaires, and one very constipated-looking trillionaire try to buy our democracy, the people are realizing that despite what billionaire-owned mainstream messaging is telling us, we are more connected than divided. All around this great country, the people are coming to understand that we have the power. And while this two-party system may not represent the power of the people, we're finding that special candidates and special elected officials do. We've seen this for years, like with the legend who is speaking here later tonight, Senator Bernie Sanders. And we're seeing a new, energizing generation burst onto the scene, like New York's very own Mayor Zohran Mamdani! I am one proud citizen of Mamdanistan, where free childcare is continuing to expand, but in the meantime, weed is already legal. We have the chance in these June primaries to make New York's ballot in November one that is progressive, a ballot that does represent the power of the people. We New Yorkers are going to organize and work for a ballot that has progressive fighters instead of institutionalized Democrats. We're going to get ourselves a ballot that favors speaking out against violence instead of staying silent. A ballot that believes in every New Yorker thriving instead of just surviving. A ballot that keeps the power in the hands of the people instead of the Bitcoin accounts of billionaires. But as we know, these progressive candidates cannot win without us. Throughout this campaign, 100,000 volunteers have been putting in hours of phone banking and canvassing and getting the word out about this exciting slate of candidates. And from now until Tuesday, we have one final push. But New Yorkers aren't afraid of hard work. We may be afraid of air conditioner juice falling into our eyeballs or trombone players moving into the apartment next door, but not hard work. It's time to roll up our sleeves and get this done, which is perfect because this month is Pride and so many of you are already wearing tank tops. We have got a slate of fantastic local leaders here tonight, so let's kick things off with two people who know a thing about organizing people power. Please welcome co-chair of New York City's DSA's Afro-Socialists and Socialists of Color Caucus, Maya Meredith, and co-chair of the New York City DSA, Grace Mauser!
Hello, everyone. How are we feeling today? Okay, I saw some of you at the parade this morning, so I know you can do better. How are you feeling?
My name is Grace Mauser, and I'm one of the co-chairs of the New York City Democratic Socialists of America.
I'm Maya, one of the co-chairs of NYC DSA's Afro-Socialists and Socialists of Color Caucus.
We're leaders of DSA's largest chapter, representing over 14,000 New Yorkers who want to transform this country. But we have to fight to make that happen. And we're inviting each and every one of you to join that fight tonight by signing up to Canvass. If you scan the QR code behind us, you can find time to talk to your neighbors about the wonderful candidates that you'll hear from tonight.
When you canvass, you'll be part of the fight against billionaires who rake in thousands of dollars every time they blink while they steal away SNAP benefits from working families. A fight against this country's machine of endless wars and inhumane deportations. A fight to stop our government from rolling back voting rights to keep power in the hands of the few.
And you'll be a part of the fight for the world that we deserve, where there's easy access to housing, healthcare, and childcare, and where we can all afford to live in the city that we built and that we love. And we're going to win that fight, but only if we go all in. We want to see the number on the screen go up to at least 200 by the end of tonight.
That's right. I'm someone that supported DSA for years from afar, but it wasn't until a canvasser knocked on my door for one of our state assembly candidates in 2022 that I really got involved. She asked me to do more than just vote and donate, and I quickly realized I love canvassing. I love getting to know people and helping them see what they could do to make their neighborhoods and their city better places to live.
And listen, we all know what a really big win feels like. We felt it on Saturday when the Knicks won the NBA championship. And we felt it in November when Zohran Mamdani became our mayor. That is the kind of feeling we want you all to have next week.
So don't leave here without signing up for a Get Out the Vote shift. Every one of us has to get out there in the next few days. We need at least 200 of you to commit to that tonight. It's the only way we can win. So we'll see you on the doors.
Thank you so much, Maya and Grace, for all of the effective work you do with the DSA. Another crucial component of any progressive coalition is the energy of the labor movement. Your next speaker is United Auto Workers member and Legal Services Staff Association member, Local 2320, Hoda Mitwale!
Brooklyn, how we doing? My name is Hoda Mitwale, and I am a proud rank-and-file member of LSSA Local 2320. We're part of Region 9A of the mighty, mighty UAW. A union is not just a card in your wallet or a service that you receive. It's what you do. A union is the power that you and your coworkers build together for a better workplace and a better world. Our UAW history stands for social justice around the world for all people. We marched with Dr. King for civil rights. We stood with South African workers to end apartheid. And I am so proud to say that we were the first major union in the country to call for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. Even if we stand alone at first, we can move others to join, and indeed other unions have joined us because that's what organizing is. It's in our blood. In Region 9A, we run members and allies who fight for the working class in the halls of power. We were the first union to endorse our mayor, Zohran Mamdani. And we are once again proud to be the first union to endorse Brad Lander, as well as our local 2110 member, Claire Valdez, and our 2325 member, Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier for Congress. All three of them will continue the UAW's tradition as they deliver unions, housing, and Medicare for all, a Green New Deal, and a true and just global peace. So let's get to work, Brooklyn. Let's knock every door to elect Brad, Claire, and Daria Lisa. Let's win this, and let's win the world we deserve. Thank you, and solidarity forever.
Good job, Hoda. Yes, keep it going for Hoda Mitwale. Woo! There are so many races this June, and the smaller ones are just as important as the bigger ones. As I always say, it's not the size of the seat that counts, it's the motion of the votin'. I've never said that before, and I will never say it again. Sorry, so sorry about that. That's why it's important for us to elect progressive candidates at every level, like state senate and assembly. These smaller races can have big impact on the lives of New Yorkers. So let's hear from this esteemed group about how they plan to support their communities. Everyone, please welcome your state legislative candidates, Aber Kawas, Ilapa Sertupak, Samantha Catan, Eli Northrup, and Brian Romero! Woo, woo, woo! keep it going. That's okay. That's okay. Yes, yes, yes. There you go. There you go.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Peace and blessings be upon you. My name is Abir Kawas, and I'm running for state senate in Astoria, Sunnyside, Woodside, Ridgewood, Maspeth, Elmhurst, LIC, and Jackson Heights. Some of the most diverse and progressive neighborhoods in Queens. And in the world's borough, we fight for the world. Like many of you, I'm from a community that has been ignored, exploited, and even erased by the Democratic establishment for far too long. My father was detained and deported in 2008. I became an organizer to fight back against injustice and make New York a city where immigrant and working class families are not just scraping by, but are free to dream and thrive together. Now, let me let you in on a little secret. We know what the solutions are, but too many politicians tell us to settle for the status quo. They tell us to be quiet while our neighbors are kidnapped by ICE, while our tax dollars fund war and everyday people struggle to pay their bills. But the people are not going to settle. We are demanding change now. Republicans in Congress and fascists in the White House are slashing our social services, threatening our basic civil rights, and destroying our climate. And establishment Democrats care more about their corporate donors than serving the people of New York. And that's why it's time for us to lead. We are demanding our government protect immigrant New Yorkers, make housing truly affordable, guarantee health care, and tax the rich. To stop funding and fueling Israel's genocide against Palestinians. Last year, we won a people's mayoral victory. A democratic socialist in office who has spent every day acting urgently to deliver an affordability agenda and dignity to New Yorkers. And we are going to carry on that mayor's historic win by working together for the people of New York. So lastly, we need a team of all-stars, bold leaders. The bold leaders you see on this stage are going to deliver transformative change, and they're not going to be the elected officials who get stuck in the mud and accept the idea that they're bound to a slow and losing institution. That's a Knicks reference, by the way. They're going to do everything they can to transform that institution to win for the people and for a free Palestine. Right. So this is our year to push into the front lines, into the halls of power. We're going to dunk on the political establishment, and we're going to deliver another people's victory to the people of New York on June 23rd. And now I'm going to introduce my comrade in the struggle, Iyapa Sare Tupac, who's representing Assembly District 65.
Can I get a tax the, tax the, tax the, tax the? That's right. How's it going, everyone? My name is Iyapa Sare Tupac. That's Iyapa. I'm a housing organizer, an anti-ICE activist, and I'm running, yes, thank you, and the proud son of Peruvian indigenous immigrants, and I'm running to represent, thank you, Assembly District 65 in Lower Manhattan. And every day for the last 5 months, my campaign's canvases have launched from Seward Park on the Lower East Side. And And we meet in the shadows of the old Jewish Forward building, where one of our country's oldest socialist publications ran for many years. And we share why we're there. And I've met and canvassed with New Yorkers who've been here for generations, and I've met New Yorkers who come from all over the world. And they're all animated by this sense of care and compassion for their fellow New Yorkers. They recognize that, like when Bernie says, it's not radical for workers to earn a living wage and to have decent protections. It's not radical to have electricity for your AC during a heat wave during a hot summer day. It's not radical to have a home you can afford to live in. What is radical is Con Edison hiking up our rates during the hottest summers in history. What is radical is Con Edison giving their executives 33% increased pay and wages. What is radical is having to pay half your paycheck to live in a crumbling building. What is radical is billionaires becoming trillionaires while workers cannot afford to eat. Socialism in this country was born in the tenement buildings of Lower Manhattan. And I know we can, yes it is. I know we can bring it back. I know we can turn Dime Square into the next commie corridor. We can do it together, am I right? But we need you. So please come canvass, phone bank for me and for my amazing slate of socialists. We can win big if we fight together. Send us to Albany from New York. So New York can continue to be for the working class and not only the wealthy. So thank you so much for coming here today. And I'm going to pass it over to my amazing comrade and fellow housing organizer, Samantha Catan, who's running for New York State Assembly District 37 in Queens.
Good evening, Brooklyn. My name is Samantha Catan. I am a tenant organizer and a new mom running for State Senate in Assembly District 37. Thank you. For 10 years, I've helped tenants organize tenant associations to fight against bad landlords, and I've helped win stronger tenant protections at the state level. I also canvassed for the first time in 2016 for Bernie Sanders, joined the Democratic Socialists of America in 2017, and since then have been working to build a strong electoral left from the ground up that can beat fascism and the far right. I've believed in the tenant movement and the socialist movement for so long, but becoming a mom just 18 months ago gave me new reasons to fight. Raising my daughter Daphne has been the greatest joy of my life, but I've seen how our ability to spend time with our families, our friends, and in our communities has been stolen from too many of us by a corrupt political system that puts profits over people. So I'm running for office because, to borrow a phrase from one of our headlining speakers, in the wealthiest city, in the wealthiest country, in the history of the world, we should be able to fund universal childcare. We should be able to have public transit with elevators for wheelchairs and strollers. We should be able to ensure that everyone can afford housing and live with dignity. We are just 5 days out from the first election since Mayor Zohran Mamdani's historic victory, and this is our time to prove that even after big wins, we will keep showing up and keep building our movement. And yeah. And what's so special about the socialist movement that many of us come from is our power comes from our people, not big donors. So if you are ready to tax the fucking rich and and fund childcare, housing, and healthcare instead of wars abroad, sign up to canvass with us in this home stretch. If you've already canvassed, sign up for another shift. Let's win a full slate sweep and keep making history. Thanks, y'all. And I am passing the microphone to Eli Northrop, running in Manhattan.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Eli Northrop. I'm running for state assembly in the 69th Assembly District in the Upper West Side and Morningside Heights. I'm a public defender. I've spent my career, thank you, standing next to people who our system often overlooks. Last summer, our city made a choice. We chose hope over cynicism. We chose a politics that says government should belong to ordinary people and not special interests. As Mayor Mamdani said on that triumphant primary night a year ago, we dreamt in the night and we are now building in the dawn. And what a beautiful time it is to be in New York City. The Knicks are champions. The World Cup is here. There is joy and possibility in the air. People are believing again in the city, in each other, and in what we can accomplish together. That's right. We are on the precipice of a new era, but after dawn comes the hard work of the day. The long hours, the difficult choices, the building of power. And standing here today, I'm reminded of a rally that happened almost exactly 10 years ago. In the spring of 2016, I was a first-year public defender. I was also a musician trying to make it in this city, and my band was asked to play an event at Foley Square. The reason I remember it so vividly was not our set list or the size of the crowd, but the man who it was in support of, a man who had captured my imagination and the attention of the nation, Senator Bernie Sanders. He was running for president. He was speaking clearly and forcefully about the need for universal health care, climate justice, and an economy that benefited working people instead of billionaires. And here we stand, a decade later. Senator Sanders' leadership has sparked a movement. And I'm now proud to be part of his team, of our team, as we continue this fight. It's our team, it's our year, it's our time. The city is awake. Let's get to work. Thank you. Now introducing a wonderful candidate for State Assembly in District 34 in Queens, Brian Romero.
All right, are we ready to fight? Are we ready to win? How's it going, Brooklyn? My name is Brian Romero, and I'm a candidate for New York State Assembly District 34. I am running to represent my neighbors in Astoria, Corona, East Elmers, Jackson Heights, and Woodside in Queens. I'm a social worker, a tenant, and an activist. I'm the proud son of Colombian immigrants, a queer Latino from Queens, and the product of our public school system. Go CUNY! am here to remind you all that our time is still now. Our time to fight for social housing, to end the displacement of our neighbors is now. Our time to secure universal health care so all of our loved ones are cared for is now. And our time to make the rich pay more of their fair share is still now. Working people won big last year, and we are going to do it again. But only if we fight to make it that way and keep it that way. Because no matter what the establishment says, we can live in a city where we are all safe. Safe from displacement, safe from deportation, and safe from crushing debt. We can live in a city where our families' needs are met, where we all have a home and food. We can live in a city where we all thrive, because a better world is possible. So join us on the doors, join us in the streets, help us get out the vote for myself, these congressional candidates, and these incredible slate of state candidates. Help us fight for the world we know is possible. Abolish ICE, free Palestine, and tax the motherfucking rich. Thank you.
Ready, Tim? I can go on? Yeah? Keep it going for these candidates! Woo! If you want to tax the rich, it really seems like these folks are going to do it. And you see that scoreboard up there, whenever it comes back with the QR code, we got to get Nick's numbers, guys. We got to get Nick's numbers, all right? So you're going to vote for these people and tell everybody you know how fucking awesome they are. Guys, thank you for, this is just a middle thing. I want to thank you guys for being here tonight, and I think we've all earned a little treat. We're doing great work here, but let's indulge in a little early dessert. The next act is kind of like a mid-meal tiramisu, or rugula, or gulab jamun, or mooncake, tres leches, anybody? Eclair? Oh, New York, we have such a diverse city of sweets. But for the sweetest treat of all, please welcome to the stage, Sarah Bareilles.
Hey, New York! Oh man, I am so happy to be here tonight. I felt so excited when I got invited to join this incredible lineup and to celebrate getting out the vote and all of the hope and possibility that these candidates are putting forth, and to be in a building with our mayor. So excited about it. And the Knicks. Yeah, and the Knicks. Yeah. It feels so good to be a New Yorker right now, doesn't it? It's amazing. I wrote this song for a new record, and the new record is about grief. And one of the places that I have carried a lot of grief, like I know we all have, is around what I think we see happening in our country. And so the idea that we might be able to take some of this hope and pour it out farther and farther and watch the ripples go and go. So I wrote this from the perspective of the ideals of America. Stay with me. I am a woman. I am a gift. I stand on the edge of promise, so you know where it is. Give me your tired and poor, trying to be free. Oh, huddled masses, just asking for mercy, bring them all to me. I am the woman you make of me. In the I am a vision, words on a page, born from the high hopes of my ancestors' rage. I have made grave mistakes, still to be known. I am the dreams of believers that we were like blood from a stone. I am the vision you see alone. In the call on me, break me down, build me back up from these charnel grounds. Fight for me to stay alive. It's the only way we survive. In the heartland. I didn't realize we were going to have like a built-in backup chorus, so if you know it, I hope you sing along or get them to clap or something, okay? Or hold your signs, whatever you need to do. You can be amazing, you could turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast or be the backlash of somebody's lack of love. Or you can start speaking up. Nothing's gonna hurt you the way the words do when they settle beneath your skin, kept on the inside and no sunlight. Sometimes a shadow wins. But I wonder what would happen if you say what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave. What you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave. We just have to do it on the 2 and 4. We can't do clapping on 1 and 3, guys. But I love your spirit. Okay, so stay with me, all right? Ready? Wanna see you, I just wanna see you. I wanna see you, I wanna see you be brave. I wanna see you, I just wanna see you. I wanna see you, I wanna see you be brave. Everybody's been there, everybody's been stared down by the enemy, falling for the fear and done tell them the truth. Say what you wanna say, let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave with what you wanna say, and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. I wanna see you be brave. I wanna see you be brave. I wanna see you. I just wanna see you. I wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave. I wanna see you. Just wanna see you. I wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave. Thanks, everybody. Get out the vote.
Keep it going for the amazing Sarah Bareilles. Guys, I was not understanding the scoreboard, okay? I'm not much of a sports person, and I'm not a mathematician, okay? I didn't realize, what'd you say? Next one. Oh, good, good, good. Thank God I got the t-shirt, not the Spurs one. But the more people who sign up, the more doors that we're counting. I thought we were trying to match a number. Nope, nope, nope. So let's just get those numbers up just generally, all right? Got it. Just a little late, but got it. Okay, anyway, guys, it's time to talk Congress. There are so many corrupt people in Congress right now who are working against the American people. Whew. Are they gnarly? My God, gross. But here in New York City, we've got a new guard who can come in and make real change for us and for all Americans. Running for New York Congressional District 10 is our city's comptroller and everyone's Jewish dad, no matter what your faith, who are working against the American people. He was recently found gnarly. My God, gross. But here in New York City, we've got a new guard. There's a weird sound thing, right? Yeah, it's a weird sound thing, but okay. And now there's not. Okay, he was recently found not guilty for obstruction of justice. He was obstructing a New Yorker from being ripped from their home and family by ICE. He legit got arrested for being too nice, all right? People talk about politicians being from Main Street or Wall Street. This guy could even represent Sesame Street. He's our progressive Brooklynite who is going to unseat AIPAC-owned Dan Goldman and go on to fight back against billionaires in Congress. It's Brad Lander. I'm going to keep...
Oh, great. Okay.
Okay, there's just a little confusion. You know what I mean? There's a few more candidates. Okay, running for New York, I'm calling them up, all right? Running for New York Congressional District 7 is a woman who's been representing Assembly District 37. Shout out to Ridgewood, shout out to Long Island City. She was also arrested for protesting the genocide in Gaza. She was protesting outside Chuck Schumer's office because she's a real one and he's Chuck Schumer. And she's also campaigning on a 4-day work week. Yes, Queen. Well, yes, Western Queens and Brooklyn. Y'all get to cast your vote for Assemblymember Claire Valdez. And running for New York Congressional District 13 in Upper Manhattan is a community protector if there ever was one. She's been advocating against ICE and protesting against the arrest of Mahmoud Khalil. And get this, her grandfather was part of the movement to unseat Dominican dictator Trujillo. So you know she's got it in her bones to do what this country needs right now. That candidate is Daria Liza Avia Chevalier. So please welcome to the stage Comptroller Brad Lander, Assemblywoman Claire Valdez, and the amazing Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier. Woo, woo, woo! Keep it going!
All right, give it up for Brooklynite Alana Glazer. I obviously loved her show, Brad City. And please give it up one more time for Sarah Bareilles, also a Brooklynite. Boy, singing like that makes me want to be brave, although Meg and Marek and Rosa, who are here, aren't so sure it's a good idea for me to just let the words fall out. Give it up for them and my parents, Carol and David, and all of you who are here today. What a glorious week to be a New Yorker! We celebrated the Knicks' teamwork and grit and refusal to give up, and we did it together with our neighbors from every background, faith, and upbringing, out in the streets of the greatest city in the world. There's a word for that feeling: solidarity. Now, solidarity is not just a feeling of unity. It's a practice of building alliance across differences, and it's the practice we need against our biggest opponents, and I don't mean Wemby and the Spurs. Solidarity is the energy we need to fight Trump's fascism, to abolish ICE, to stand up to the billionaires who are rigging our economy, so we can win a city everyone can afford and where everyone is welcome. This past week was an incredible split screen. While we celebrated the Knicks and welcomed the World Cup, Trump and his MAGA billionaires watched cage matches on the White House lawn like some Roman emperor. Now, the word solidarity actually originated with the plebeians of Rome, who were angry about the same things we're angry about gaping inequality, about endless wars, about the corruption of elites. For them, solidarity described shared debt or mutual obligation. It comes down to us today as the core of every social movement that we build together. Our two hosts tonight, they know a lot about solidarity. Senator Bernie Sanders, he coined what I think is the clearest definition: not me, us. Let me hear you say that. Not me. One more time. Not me. And he spent his life taking on the billionaires who would try to divide us so they can extract the wealth that we need to take care of each other. Thank you, Bernie, for your support and for your leadership of our movement. And thanks also to our mayor, Zohran Mamdani. Zohran has shown us we can't just run against something, we have to run for something. And who knew it was going to be the first Knicks championship in 53 years? Now, when Zohran and I cross-endorsed last year, I'll admit, it started with the shared goal of saying good fucking riddance to Andrew Cuomo. Don't tell my mom I said that. Sometimes you need an opponent to get your team motivated, but it became something much deeper. Proof that politics don't have to be a cage match. Politics can be a team sport for the city we love and the values we share. That's solidarity. You might have seen Mayor Mamdani in a different kind of team sport recently. Some kind of gorge eating, they tell me, is called a mukbang, where he and his Department of Consumer and Worker Protection Commissioner Sam Levine announced a multi-million-dollar settlement against Taco Bell and Dunkin' Donuts for violating New York City's Fair Work Week law, screwing workers out of what they're owed. Well, what you might not know is I wrote that law. In the city council, we took on Taco Bell and Dunkin' and Uber and McDonald's and Chipotle and Seamless, and we won protections for hundreds of thousands of New York City workers fast food workers, gig workers, delivery workers, New Yorkers the system had written off as disposable. And because we took on those fights, parents got predictable schedules. Deliveristas who have been making $6 an hour during the pandemic got living wages. We hear you, deliveristas. Freelancers got the right to be paid what they're owed. And that bill, the Freelancers and Free Act, passed 51-0 because even Trump-supporting Republicans know it's wrong to cheat your freelancers out of work they already did for you. And every worker in this city got paid sick days. Now, every one of those fights was won by organizing, by delivery workers riding around City Hall, by fast food workers who had the courage to strike even though they didn't have a union, by union members who had their backs from UAW and Starbucks and building service workers and nurses. We'll win for workers in Congress the same way because there's no greater force for solidarity than a union. We also show solidarity when we put our bodies on the line for our immigrant neighbors, like we've been doing down at 26 Federal Plaza. And we won't stop, no matter how many times they arrest me or how many times Tom Homan threatens to send troops here. In Congress, we will hold ICE accountable for their crimes, for the deaths of Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good and far too many others whose names we don't know, in the greatest immigrant city in the world with that mother of exiles out in the harbor. We won't throw our immigrant neighbors under the bus or trans kids or anyone else that Trump or corporate Democrats think it's okay to let go of. That's not how solidarity works. And our solidarity doesn't stop at the Hudson or at the Potomac. It reaches out across the world to people in Cuba and Venezuela and Iran and Lebanon and Sudan. It reaches to Palestinian kids in Gaza who can't go to school because our tax dollars paid for the bombs that destroyed them all. That's why we'll sign on to the Block the Bombs Act and why we won't pay for any more of Netanyahu's wars. Israelis won't be safe until Palestinians are free. And part of what we're showing is that Jewish New Yorkers and Muslim New Yorkers won't be divided against each other. We've had it with corporate Democrats who don't know what time it is. This is not the time for strongly worded letters or high-dollar fundraisers or elections bought by billionaires or crypto bros or AI oligarchs. It's time for a politics of solidarity, of neighbors standing up for each other, of refusing to compromise on anyone's dignity or anyone's humanity. I'm grateful to Mayor Mamdani and Senator Sanders. I'm proud to stand with this slate of candidates fighting for working people and taking on corporate power. And I can't wait to be your partner in the United States Congress. All right, so who's ready to be brave? Who's ready to show some solidarity? Who's ready to sign up to Canvass, to Phone Bank, to work shifts at the polls? Because between now and Tuesday, that's what solidarity looks like. We've got a fascist in the White House. We've got rogue ICE agents in our streets. We've got billionaires trying to buy our elections. But around here, solidarity is how we fight back and how we win. Thank you very much. Please give it up for Assembly Member and candidate for Congress in New York's 7th Congressional District, Claire Valdez.
Okay.
Good evening, Brooklyn. When we fight, when we fight, that's what I'm talking about. Hi, everyone. My name is Claire Valdez. I'm an assembly member. I'm a union organizer. I'm a democratic socialist. And I'm running for Congress because workers deserve it all. But let's ask ourselves, what is the working class getting right now? 1 in 4 New Yorkers are living in poverty. 1 in 3 Americans are carrying more credit card debt than savings. Nearly half of all tenants in New York 7 are struggling to make their rent. And behind every single one of those numbers is a person. It's a waiter in Bushwick who can't see his friends because every day he is at work. A baker in Greenpoint who got fired for organizing her union. An Amazon driver in Maspeth who's pushing through incredible pain to make deliveries for a corporation that doesn't even acknowledge him as a worker. Too many of us can't think about our future. We can only think about the next shift, the next bill, whether the check clears before the rent hits. Someone else controls your life. The boss, the landlord, some distant boardroom that has taken everything you are, your labor, your talent, your years, and reduced them to a line item. A cost to be managed. Profits are down, squeeze harder. Cut hours, offshore, automate. And the person who's making those decisions, they're counting on you never seeing them. That kind of invisibility, the feeling that forces are ruining your life, that they're everywhere, that they're nowhere, that they're running the table and you can't even find that table. That does something to a person. It makes you feel alone. I know what that feels like. And then I walked into my first union meeting at Columbia University. 300 workers I'd never seen before, people from every corner of the campus doing every kind of job with every kind of background, different politics, different beliefs, different stories. But in that room, we were trying to figure out the same thing. What do we deserve? What can we demand? How do we win? For the first time in my working life, I didn't feel alone. That is what solidarity does. It asks you to recognize that the person next to you is fighting the same fight, that your coworker, your neighbor, your fellow tenant, they are not your competition. They are your power. And solidarity does not stop at our borders. For decades, we have been sold a lie that wars abroad keep us safe at home. But who pays the price? It's not the people sending the bombs. It's not the billionaires profiting from the contracts. It's the parent in Iran hearing that a strike has hit their daughter's school, or the fisherman in Gaza who survived a genocide, the child in Ramallah who has never once seen the sea, the immigrant New Yorker who's been disappeared into the detention system. The people making those decisions, from a boardroom, from a donor dinner, from the Oval Office, they will never have to look those families in the eyes either. The people who squeeze workers here are the same people who are funding the bombs over there. The war machine and the billionaire class are not separate systems. They are the same. But they are not as powerful as they think. Because when working people come together, we can move mountains. We can stand unapologetically with our trans siblings. We can put our bodies in the way of the deportation machine. We can rebuild the labor movement into a fighting force for the whole working class. We know what we have to do. It is right in front of us. Friends, there are no shortcuts. We've got 5 days to knock every door, 5 days to make every call, 5 days to tell everyone we know there's a Democratic Socialist on the ballot who will fight like hell for them in Congress. The billionaires aren't taking shortcuts. The war machine isn't taking shortcuts, so neither are we. Friends, when we fight, when we fight, that's right. Solidarity forever, free Palestine, abolish ICE. And now, I have the unbelievable pleasure of introducing my friend, my comrade, Daria Liza Avila Chevalier.
¿Qué lo que mi gente? Wow. Look around this room. This is what a movement looks like. Not a machine, just people. People who showed up. People who believe something better is possible. And people who are about to make history. And the way that we make that history, we sign up to Canvas right now. Our friends are in the crowd. They have clipboards. Say hi. If you have a clipboard, say hello. I need you to scan that QR code, sign up, and watch that ticker behind me. We will be taking counts all night. And I'm so excited to be here with you all. I see some friends in the crowd, but to my new friends, my name is Daria Liza Avila Chevalier. I'm a teacher, a public defense investigator, an Afro-Latina organizer, and a renter in Harlem. And I've had students come to me asking where they could find food and shelter. I've sat with people on the worst days of their lives and seen what happens when elected leaders fail them. I've fought to free our neighbors from ICE detention and watched politicians claim to stand with our communities while they're funded by the same corporations, landlords, and lobbyists who are driving up the prices of our groceries, pushing us out of our neighborhoods, and profiting from our communities being terrorized by ICE. And that's why I'm running. Because we deserve someone who will fight for us in the same way that we fight for each other, every single day. And after 9 years in Congress, this shouldn't even be a close race for an incumbent. But uptown and in the Bronx, we're hungry. We're hungry for something real. And in a district where 88% of us are renters, the incumbent congressman has taken more than $250,000 from the very same real estate developers who are pricing our neighbors out of their homes. And in the last few days alone, he's taken an additional $200,000 from Wall Street and real estate. And as chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, he voted to send $8.8 billion to ICE, while pocketing more than $115,000 from ICE contractors. The same forces terrorizing his community. His all-time top donor, though, is AIPAC. At over $670,000. He won't sign on to the Block the Bombs Act and has voted repeatedly to fund dropping bombs on families abroad instead of investing here in our communities. And we know that that's not right. You don't get to call yourself a progressive while taking money from the very corporations and special interests that are raising our rents, while refusing to sign on to the bills that would actually make our lives better, and then looking away when your own community is under attack. That is not leadership. That is abandonment. So now let me tell you what this election is really about, because this race is much bigger than Adriano Espaillat, and it is much bigger than me. Because 6 months ago, they told us this race was over before it started. They told us Adriano was untouchable, that he was an institution, that you don't run against someone like him and win. that this district was his and that we should wait our turn. And they said it with such confidence, like the outcome had already been written. Well, look around. Look at what we've built. Because this didn't come from the lobbyists. It didn't come from the corporate PACs, and it sure as hell didn't come from the political insiders. It came from us. And that is exactly why they're scared. Because while they were sitting in their offices, we were knocking on over 100,000 doors. While they were spending millions on attack ads against us, we were talking to our neighbors at bodegas, on stoops, outside schools, at community events across Washington Heights, Harlem, and Kingsbridge. And while they were protecting a machine, we were building a movement. We built a coalition that looks like this district: Dominican and Puerto Rican, Black and immigrants, young and lifelong residents, renters and workers and organizers who have never stopped fighting for their neighbors. And now they're spending $5.5 million trying to stop us. $5.5 million. Not because we're losing, because we're winning. Because this race is about something much bigger than one congressional seat. It's about whether working people can still be organized money. And it's about whether our communities are represented or simply managed. About whether our needs are heard and fought for or ignored. And it's about whether the power belongs to special interests or to the people. Every person across the country who is fighting in their own community to break the grip of big money and endless war on our democracy is watching. Because if we win here, the message is unmistakable. Writing a check and calling it representation is over. You cannot take working people for granted. And you cannot outspend a movement whose time has come. Now listen, the polls look good, but I'm with Jalen Brunson on this. We're 0-0 until the final buzzer. Nothing is won until it is won. So today, when you leave here, don't leave inspired. Leave committed. Knock one more door. Click. Sign up. Make one more phone call. Text 10 more people. Bring your friends. Bring your families, bring your neighbors, because 6 days from now, nobody's gonna remember this rally, I hate to tell you. They're gonna remember whether we won. So are you ready to win? I said, are you ready to win? Because we want babies? Because we want babies? Because we want to abolish, and because we want housing. And on June 23rd, this district is going to send the first Afro-Latina woman to Congress with a clear mandate. Because this fight is about something bigger than one race. Washington Heights, Harlem, Kingsbridge, we are done being ignored. We are done falling through the cracks. This is the moment we have been building toward. Every organizer who has been told to wait, every community member who has been told their issues aren't a priority, every voter who has watched their representative cash a check and call it service, that ends on Tuesday. So now let's show this country what people power looks like. Thank you all so much.
Give it up one more time for this amazing slate of progressive candidates. Incredible. Y'all, I don't do math good, but we don't have a lot of numbers to get to 200. Let's get to 200 before we leave tonight, all right? I am so proud to be a New Yorker right now. Yes, because of the New York Knicks. Duh. Yes, because we have this inspiring slate of progressive candidates we're committed to, who are going to fight for all of us. And because we are the tip of the spear of the progressive movement. We are leading the energy. We got the vibes. The rest of the country has been watching our city government deliver again and again on policies that helps its citizens. And that's because of our mayor. Zohran Mamdani's campaign last year was lit. It was fire. Mayor Mamdani and his team and you all proved that if you lead with authenticity and offer a positive and joyful vision of the future, voters will respond. He ran an unabashedly progressive campaign, standing up for workers, for tenants, for immigrants, for our trans brothers and sisters, and the whole queer community and so many other people that make New York City the best. And since taking office, Mayor Mamdani has secured millions of dollars in worker and small business restitution. He's announced several city-run grocery stores to bring healthy and affordable food to communities that need it most. And as a parent, I am grateful for his work with Governor Hochul to expand free 2K childcare. But my deepest hope for our mayor is that his wife thinks my outfit is cool. It is now my distinct honor to welcome the pothole powerhouse, the snowplow success, the man bringing that strategic democratic socialism to New York City and showing that progress does not have to be slow. Our government can and should and will, in the end, serve the people. Give it up for Mayor Zohran Mamdani!
Thank you, Brooklyn! Thank you, King's Theater! Thank you to an incredible slate of candidates. And thank you to all of you for making it here when you could easily still be in the streets celebrating. So first of all, and say it with me as loudly as you can, Knicks in! Knicks in! Knicks in! As I look out on this crowd, I see many of the same faces from our rallies last May and June. The same faces I saw as I spoke on a steaming June evening and a freezing November night. And I know that there are some who may ask, is that election not over? It may be, but our work has never been about any one person, any one office, or any one election. Our work has been about one movement. A movement to turn the page on the politics of big money and small ideas. A movement to usher in a new era for our city. A movement to make government work for every single New Yorker, not just the wealthy and the well-connected. I stand here today fulfilling the promise I made to you in the days when we were polling at 1%. The days where our closest competitor was other. We don't hear about them much anymore. The promise was that I would use every tool at my disposal to stand up to corporate greed and bad landlords, to protect our immigrant neighbors, to deliver a city where New Yorkers could afford to do more than struggle, a city where dreams are no longer fantasies of today but glimpses of tomorrow. And the truth, my friends, is that I cannot do it alone. The reason I stand here alongside this incredible slate is that if we want to build a movement that endures, if we want to build a movement that wins, we need leaders across our city who are willing to fight with everything they have for working people. We need Claire Valdez, Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier, and Brad Lander fighting for us in Congress. We need Abir Kawas, Eli Northrop, Iyapa Syra Tupac, Samantha Catan, and Brian Romero fighting for us in Albany. And if we want this movement to win, we need you to show up the way you showed up for me. To knock as many doors as you can, even when it's raining, even when it's hot, even when it's hard, even when the Knicks just brought an end to a 53-year wait. Because that's what we have, and that's what our opponents don't. That extra door, that extra text, that extra bit of effort, that second door knock after 15 seconds of not hearing anything. You know what I'm talking about. Fighting the urge to mark not home in van. Don't do it. Don't do it. Knock again. Because I know that even though you're tired, even though you've given so much, even though it's frankly unfair to ask you for more, I know that you have it in you. I know it only because I'm reminded every single day when I walk the streets of our city, when I see New Yorkers going to work at every hour and still finding time to dream in that same hour that tomorrow could be more than today. Because if anyone can sustain this movement, if anyone can win these elections, if anyone can shock this country, it is you. You have done it before, and on Tuesday, we will do it again. And we need that because, as Gramsci once wrote, the old world is dying and the new world struggles to be born. Now is the time of monsters. These monsters take many forms today. In those who fund television ads that blanket the airwaves with misleading and bad faith attacks about Claire, Brad, and Dari. Those who would rather spend far more on political contributions than they would ever be made to pay in taxes. In AIPAC, for whom the only thing more frightening than democracy being allowed to run its course is an end to genocide and Netanyahu's wars. They move millions in dark money to accomplish a single goal, to preserve their power so that they can turn us against one another, instead of our leaders turning towards the moral change we all know to be necessary. In a politics that for too long has asked working people to lower their expectations, to settle for less, to become satisfied with small victories while our wages grow even smaller and our costs grow even larger. To resign ourselves to resignation, to accept the unacceptable. In the wealthiest city, in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, we need not live in fear of monsters any longer. If a new world is truly to be born, then where else should it be born than right here in New York? Where else should that new world be born than in the city the entire world seeks to emulate? On June 23rd, we will win that new world together. The outcome of these elections will reverberate around our city and around our country. And it will send a very clear message. When we win, we will make it clear that our movement is more powerful than their money. When we win, we will make it clear that we understand the urgency of this moment and refuse to delay change for yet another year, for yet another cycle, for yet another generation. And when we win these elections on June 23rd, let it be heard by every member of Congress who believes incumbency is a substitute for action. Let it be heard by every oligarch who thinks that greed can go unchecked, that politicians can be bought, that this city and this country have a price. Let it be heard by every pundit who sees a Muslim last name and tells that candidate to prepare a concession speech. Let it ring in courtrooms that mistake the Voting Rights Act as a suggestion, not the law of the land. And in fact, let it roar in every state where politicians think they can redraw the lines so that black Americans no longer have a say. Last year, New Yorkers were asked to make a choice, and many were told that it was a choice between a government that could answer the challenges of today and one that could imagine a better tomorrow. They were told it was a choice between a government that clears the streets of snow and one that would hold corporate abusers to account. After all, they told us, surely government couldn't both fill potholes and provide universal child care. Surely government couldn't both dare to deliver and dare to dream. My friends, if these past 6 months have proved anything, it is that these are false choices. Government can achieve so much more than those who seek to discourage and demoralize that they are willing to admit. Government can fix crumbling streets, bring people together, and transform our city. And those who tell us otherwise are driven by a four-letter word: fear. Fear that maybe things will change. Fear that maybe power will no longer be restricted to backrooms and boardrooms, but extended to the working people being priced out of this city. Now, this is a moment of more, of asking for more, of expecting more, of delivering more. We won't answer to those who insist we settle for less any longer. Now, people often ask me what I think of the state of the Democratic Party. This slate here today is our answer. The Democratic Party must change. They tend to follow that question with another: who do you want to run in 2028? Then they ask, when does the race for 2028 begin? It starts now. It starts on Tuesday. It starts when we reject a politics that believes in polls more than principles. It starts when we realize that politics, one that waits for political convenience, will never feel the urgency to address the people's inconvenience. Because at the heart of all of these questions that are being asked is who we are and what we are fighting for. These campaigns, these candidates, they answer that question in the way that we must. Because for far too long, our party has seen its job as managing decline instead of delivering material change for working people. It has seen its job as explaining why we cannot instead of showing how we can. And that old way of thinking will lose on Tuesday. And frankly, it will lose in South Carolina and New Hampshire. It will fall short of 270 electoral votes. Because the party of the past will not be what leads us into the future. For we need a Democratic Party with backbone. A Democratic Party that offers an affirmative agenda without apology. A Democratic Party that is not just willing to stand up, but also to stand for something. And a Democratic Party that has the ambition to enact a vision worthy of the people it seeks to represent. Affordability is not magic. It is not something that can be summoned by words. It must be summoned by deeds. We must stand up to corporate greed, build affordable housing, make childcare something every family can afford. And as we speak, there are those hoping to divide up the working people of this city, to convince us that the problems we face are not a result of their greed, but instead that of our neighbors. They will do whatever it takes to maintain a broken status quo that benefits the privileged few at the expense of the many. And they think that there is no one who will try to stop them. They're wrong. This slate will. And this slate will not just try. This slate will succeed. Because this slate knows the difference between a party that defends the status quo and a party fighting to transform the status quo. And I want to be honest with all of you. If you want politicians who spend their time telling you about all the things that cannot be done, my friends, you are at the wrong rally. By all means, vote for the other guys. But if you want leaders who wake up every day asking how much more can be done for the working person, then knock doors, make calls, text your friends, bring your neighbors to the polls, and vote. And when you are at those polls, when you are in that booth, and it's just you and your ballot and that incredible pen from the Board of Elections, it is a sacred moment. It is you alone with democracy. And it is then that every New Yorker answers a question. What the other side wants that question to be is, which of your neighbors are you most willing to sell out? What the other side wants that question to be is, which leaders of today are you willing to delay until tomorrow? They ask that the tenant of 40 years vote against the tenant of 1 year. That the divide is between those who have gone through decades of political transformation and those who have joined our movement as soon as they were of voting age. They ask questions that sustain power for those who have it under the guise of rewarding those who struggle under it. I do not believe that is the question you must in fact answer in that booth. In the city I know, in the city I love, the question is not when did you arrive? The question is, can you afford to stay? And yet, amidst the greed that drives some of this cost of living crisis, we have something that crisis does not. Something far stronger. We have a love of our neighbors that can be heard in bodegas and $9 coffee shops alike. A love that is not driven by age or race or status, by a working class solidarity and a fundamental understanding that only together can we win that which we deserve. Only together can we win housing that's affordable, wages that recognize our worth, and a government in which there is no task too big and no job too small. Whether you are a tenant who has been here for 4 months or 40 years, we have so much more in common with one another than we do with those attacking Claire, Daria Lisa, and Brad. Whether you arrived at JFK, at Port Authority, or your great-grandparents came through Ellis Island, We have so much more in common with one another than those who seek to demonize new arrivals, whether from Kansas or Kinshasa, and divide us. And whether you worship at shul, at a mosque, in a church, a gurdwara, a temple, or you don't worship at all, we share a belief that our city deserves leaders who lead with hope and not fear. Because no matter where we live, how old we are, what train we take in the morning, or what bagel we order, we are New Yorkers and we want the same things. Housing that we can afford, childcare that is universal, buses that are fast and free, Medicare for all, time with the people we love, a city that belongs to all of us. And that's exactly why we need to elect Brad Lander, whose love for his neighbors is only matched by the fight he will bring to Congress. Brad had my back when I needed him most. Had this city's back when Elon Musk tried to rob it of tens of millions of dollars. And he put his own back on the line to protect immigrants who were wrongfully detained by ICE. That's why we need to elect Assemblymember Claire Valdez. A former UAW organizer and proud democratic socialist, who is running for Congress to make sure working people in New York and across this country have a seat at the bargaining table. Now, when other Democrats chose to look the other way, as Netanyahu committed war crimes, Claire didn't just name the genocide, she organized for a ceasefire. When ICE abducted our neighbors, Claire was arrested protesting them. Wherever there have been struggles in our city for dignity and justice, my friends, say it with me, Claire was there. No one will work harder than Claire to take power from those who abuse it and put it in the hands of those who deserve it. And that, my friends, is why we need to elect Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier. The daughter of a single mother from a working-class Dominican family. Since she was a teenager, Dari has organized her community and reunited families illegally separated by ICE. That includes her classmate Mahmoud Khalil, whose pregnant wife Noor's cries for help were ignored by so many, but not by Dari. Because Dari is exactly who the people of the Bronx and Upper Manhattan deserve representing them in Congress. New York, I hope you'll forgive me, but I have the Knicks on my mind. And it's not just that every time I watch the Knicks with Dari or with Claire, they won. It's also to say that with just 5 days left until Election Day and 30 seconds left on the metaphorical clock, I will leave you with this quote from Captain Clutch himself, Jalen Brunson. You are allowed to think about the worst possible scenario, but you got to go out there and do something about it. So, my friends, I must ask you, what are you going to do? How many friends will you text right now? How many doors will you knock? How many neighbors will you bring along? Because I hate to break it to you, but OG Anunoby is not here to save the day. The only hands we can count on are ours. But this is our team. This is our year. So let's go after it and get it. Thank you, my friends. And now, it is my pleasure to bring out the one, the only, the great senator from Vermont, my mentor, your mentor, our mentor, Senator Bernie Sanders! Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Mr. Mayor, thank you for the introduction. Let me thank all of the candidates who have spoken, who are running hard, and on Tuesday are going to win their election. Now, I think all of you know there is a lot of bad news in the world today, so I want to cheer you up and give you some very good news. And it's not just the Nixon fight. In the last 8 months, progressive and democratic socialist candidates all over this country have been winning major victories. In case you didn't know, Zohran Mamdani won for mayor of New York. He took on the Democratic establishment, the Republican establishment, the president, the oligarchs, and with your help, he won a great victory. But it's not just Zohran. And Lilia Mejia, a labor organizer, first time running, took on the establishment candidates in New Jersey. She's now the congresswoman. Adam Hamawi, a U.S. Army combat surgeon, saved lives in Iraq, traveled to Gaza as a volunteer doctor to take care of kids. He is going to win his election, congressman from New Jersey. Graham Plattner, 4 tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan, never ran for public office before, defeated the establishment candidate, the governor. Is going to become the next senator from Maine. Bob Brooks, local firefighter union leader, defeated an establishment candidate in Pennsylvania by 20 points. Brian Poindexter, labor organizer, Iron Workers Union, never ran for office before, beat a guy who had been the Democratic nominee for governor in Ohio. Sam Forstag, another labor organizer. He is a smoke jumper. Guy goes into fires. Never ran for office again. Defeated an establishment candidate. Randy Villegas, in California, an educator, served on the local school board, took on the establishment candidate, won by 5 points. He's going to go to Congress.
Chris Rabb, Philadelphia, took on the establishment. Jane Kim is going to become the next insurance commissioner in California. And just yesterday, Janice Lewis George, a Democratic socialist, won her primary. She is going to be the next mayor of Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. And as what Zohran mentioned a moment ago, what tonight is about is that in the next 4 days, everybody here and everybody in the city has got to work hard to make sure that Brad and Claire and Darreliza become the next congresspeople for New York City. So why are progressives and socialist candidates winning elections all across this country? And the answer, in my view, is not complicated. The working class of America understands that our current economic system is rigged, that it is designed to benefit the wealthy and the powerful, and that while the very richest people in this country become richer, it leaves working families behind struggling to put food on the table. Working families understand that it is insane that Elon Musk, the richest man on earth, has increased his wealth by almost $1 trillion since Trump was elected, and that he now owns, one man owns more wealth than the bottom 53% of American households. And while Musk and his billionaire friends become richer and richer, 60% of Americans are struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to put food on the table, pay the rent, and pay for health care. That is not the economy that the American people want or deserve. The American people understand that in this moment in American history, we have more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had. You know, when we went to school, we studied the Gilded Age. Remember that? The Rockefellers and the Carnegies and all those guys. The situation today is much more unequal than it was back then, with the 1% on top owning more wealth than the bottom 93%. Progressives and Democratic Socialists are winning all over this country because they understand that our health care system is broken, it is dysfunctional, that we pay the highest prices in the world for health care and for prescription drugs. Meanwhile, the pharmaceutical industry and the insurance companies make huge profits while people can't afford to go to a doctor. Progressives and socialists are winning all over this country because they understand that in the richest nation on earth, we should not have a massive housing crisis with 800,000 people homeless and 20 million households paying 50% or more for their housing. Progressives and socialists are winning because they understand that in America we should not have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth. We should not have a child care system which is broken, where families can't afford child care and the workers at child care centers are getting inadequate pay. We are winning elections all over this country because over 20% of seniors in America are trying to survive on $15,000 or less. And that low-income elderly people are living 9 years shorter lives than wealthy seniors. We are winning elections across the country because the American people understand that our democracy is being undermined by a corrupt campaign finance system that is dominated by billionaires and their super PACs. It is not an accident that Mr. Musk's wealth explosion, $1 trillion since Trump was elected, came after he spent $290 million to elect Trump. And the American people understand that a large part of our horrific foreign policy is impacted by APAC funding. That our policy regarding artificial intelligence and the lack of action to protect workers is directly a result of the hundreds of millions of dollars that the AI companies are going to put into campaigns. And they understand that our financial policy is impacted significantly by the huge campaign contributions from crypto super PACs. So what all people all across this country, and I don't care if you are a progressive, socialist, conservative, moderate, you understand that we live in a nation where the average person gets one vote, but billionaire-funded super PACs are able to buy and sell candidates. And there is something else that the American people understand, and that is that the politics and the policies of the Democratic establishment are no longer good enough. In this dangerous and unprecedented moment in American history, tinkering around the edges just won't work. Taking money from corporate PACs won't work. Hiring inside the Beltway consultants and running stupid 30-second TV ads won't work. Yes, it goes without saying, and progressives are going to lead the effort in this direction. We need and will take on Trump and his pathological lying. We're going to take on his racism, his authoritarianism, his undermining of democracy and constitutional rights, his kleptocracy, and his illegal and unconstitutional wars. But let me be as clear as I can be, and that is taking on Trump is not enough. The American people are hurting, they are struggling, and they demand strong and immediate action now to improve their lives. And that is what the campaigns that we're seeing right here in New York City are about. It's what the campaigns that we're seeing all over this country is about. It is building a grassroots movement to mobilize working class people across this country to take on the billionaire class and to create an economy and a government that works for all, not just the few. Now, one of the things that the establishment does is they say, you know, you guys on the left, the extreme left, your ideas are so crazy. They're impractical. Don't you know we are living in an age of austerity? And our response to that is somehow or another, they got $1 trillion to give in tax breaks to the 1%. Somehow or another, they want to expand military spending by $500 billion. And you know what? If they can do those things for the rich and the powerful and the military-industrial complex, together we can create a decent life for every man, woman, and child in this country. And what Zohran's campaign was about, and what is not widely known, is it's not just his ideas, not just his own particular strong abilities. It was that all of you and the people of New York City, 100,000 people, came together to tell the establishment, enough is enough, we're going to bring change in New York. And brothers and sisters, that is the message reverberating all across this country in small towns and large cities. So our job is to fight for an agenda that transforms this country and that works for working families. And here are just some of what we have got to do. At the top of my list is the absolute need to get rid of this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision. And get rid of these super PACs, get them out of the Democratic Party primaries. And let us create a vibrant democracy, one person, one vote, not billionaires buying elections. Now, everybody in America understands that our current healthcare system is broken. But what separates progressives from establishment Democrats is we don't just moan and say, oh, isn't it terrible? Costs are so high. So many people are uninsured. We are prepared to take on the insurance companies, take on the drug companies, and bring about a Medicare for all, single-payer system which guarantees health care to every man, woman, and child as a human right, not a privilege. And when we look at the economy, we're not just saying, well, gee, prices are rising. That is true. But we have got to have a minimum wage in this country, $20 an hour, that is a living wage. We've got to make it easier for workers to join unions by passing the PRO Act. And we can no longer be the only major country on earth that does not have guaranteed paid family and medical leave. This is the richest country on earth. We should be having the best public educational system in the world. What the mayor is doing here should be done all over this country. Universal child care, make it free. I want the best and the brightest young people to go into public education. No teacher should be making less than $60,000 a year. And young people should not be going deeply into debt to get the education they need, higher education, public education, tuition free. And we need more doctors, we need more nurses. We've got legislation to make medical school, nursing school, tuition free. And what the American people understand is the time is long overdue for the wealthiest people in this country to start paying their fair share of taxes. And I want to give you an example. Give me a moment here to give you an example of what this inequality is all about. I proposed and introduced legislation to establish a 5% annual wealth tax on the less than 1,000 billionaires in this country. $938 billionaires who are worth over $8 trillion. All right. So I want to tell you what a 5% wealth tax on these fewer than 1,000 people would accomplish. If this legislation were to pass in its first year, it would provide every man, woman, and child in a household making less than $150,000 with a $3,000 direct payment, $12,000 for a family of four. It would provide the necessary resources to build 7 million units of low-income and affordable housing and put hundreds of thousands of workers to work, union jobs, building homes. It would expand Medicare to cover dental, vision, and hearing. It would guarantee universal child care. It would expand home health care so that seniors and people with disabilities can live with dignity in their own homes. It would restore health care to the 15 million Americans who are losing it because of Trump's big, beautiful bill. All of that and more would be paid for by a 5% annual tax on the wealth of billionaires. Nobody with less than $1 billion in wealth would pay a nickel more in taxes. My critics claim that this legislation is punitive. It's confiscatory. We're picking on these terrible billionaires. And here is the irony, for better or for worse. If this legislation would pass tomorrow, Elon Musk would pay $39 billion more in taxes, leaving him, I know this is tough for Elon, with just $737 billion in which to survive. I know, hey, you know what the price of gas is right now? You know what food is? Guy has $737 billion. What do you want? All right, and when we talk about a progressive agenda, there's an issue I've been working very, very hard on, and I want you all to be aware of it. AI, artificial intelligence, and robotics are the most transformational and consequential technologies in the history of humanity. And that is why we are fighting for a moratorium on the construction of new data centers. And that is why we've just introduced today, matter of fact, legislation that would establish an AI sovereign wealth fund, which would give the public 50% of the ownership of the major AI companies. We cannot allow a handful of billionaires whose only goal is to make more and more money for themselves to transform our country and the world. The public must be involved in that process. As some of you may know, I grew up literally just a few miles away from here. I grew up in a 3.5-room rent-controlled apartment right here in Flatbush. My father dropped out of school at the age of 14 and came to this country from Poland at the age of 17 without a nickel in his pocket. My mother graduated high school in the Bronx. And while they didn't live long enough to see it, they in fact lived the American dream by having both of their sons graduate college and do things that they never would have believed would have been possible. And the story of my family is the story of your families. It is the story of the vast majority of the American people. We are people whose families came here from Europe, from Latin America, from Africa, from Asia, from every country on earth. Most came here voluntarily, some came in chains. But the dream for all was a better life for their children and the desire to live in a free and democratic society. In this unprecedented and dangerous moment in American history, our job is to keep faith with their dreams, their struggles. They did so much to create the country that we're living in today. And if we're going to keep faith with their hard work, their determination, their fighting in wars, that means that we must not allow a handful of oligarchs motivated by extreme greed. We must not allow them to control our economy, to control our media, to control our political life. We must not and will not allow their greed to destroy the heart and soul and what is best in our country. We will not accept a dog-eat-dog, might is right, survival of the fittest mentality. And the way we keep their dreams alive, the way we keep what is best in America alive, is to be involved in the political process, as I know so many of you are. So in the next 4 days, let us do everything that we can to elect Brad and Claire and our Lisa to the United States Congress. Let's do it. Thank you all very much.